What is today? 320? What's today? 320? Check. Hello and welcome to the CanesWear podcast. Did everyone get that, Joe?
This
is the new. This is. I hear my wife in the background listening, and I'm like on delay there. So, welcome everybody. It is Thursday, 3/20, March 20th. We've got the trifecta in house. We've got myself. We've got Gio, and we got Mondo on audio today. It's an exciting day. We got March Madness going on today and tomorrow. To me, is the most exciting day in sports. You got 32 basketball games, 16 in back-to-back days, and our Canes play tomorrow night at 10:10 in Missouri. The seventh seeded Canes against Missouri in Missouri. So hopefully Jay Lucas and team can get going, and we can get this tournament underway in a good way. We've got spring practice next week. We got pro day next week. So a lot of exciting things happening. Again, you're on CanesWear TV. Please like and subscribe. We'd appreciate it. It's our all new channel and lots of good things going on. And without any further ado, we've got the man, the myth himself, Gio. Gio, how's it going?
Doing good. We're getting closer to spring football, just only a few days away. Tuesday, the official first day. The other thing, pro day Monday, as we briefly spoke about on our last show. And, well, March Madness for the Canes, the absolute last game for the first round. They saved the best for last. Miami will play tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern. Everyone's going to be up late for that. But what an incredible ride and job from Coach Jay Lucas in his first season as head coach. I was talking about it earlier. Me and Alex Donna, we were talking about the accomplishment that Lucas has done this season for being a first-year head coach. He's never been a head coach before. And we were talking about it in an X space earlier today. And it's just crazy to think about because a year ago at this time, Miami's roster was like entirely decimated. They needed to construct an entirely new roster, a recruiting class to come in, which they added some really big key pieces right down at the end of the stretch. And then all the transfer pieces they added too. Phenomenal job that Coach Lucas has done this season, regardless of whatever the outcome is tomorrow in tomorrow night's game. They've exceeded expectations for the first year. No one had Miami as a tournament team entering the season, at least from the national pundits. No one thought that. Everyone thought, maybe middle of the pack in the ACC or the bottom third, but they're one of the better teams in the ACC this year. And they've beat quality teams along the way, and they've competed with very quality teams throughout the entire season. So honestly, phenomenal job from Coach Lucas, and very fun time of the year when March Madness is going on. Just all the craziness of these games. I'm sure everyone caught the Duke game earlier today. That was wild in itself. North Carolina blowing a lead just now to go into OT. So plenty of March Madness going on. And Mondo, how are you doing, man?
What's up, Brett? Gio, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing fantastic,
Doing great.
Mondo. I know you're rooting for North Carolina here, so I'm rooting for VCU, to be honest. So we're actually on the other end, but we are doing great. March Madness. How are you? We've missed you lately.
Yeah, it's good. CanesWear TV. The logo looks good, guys. And like Gio just alluded to, March Madness. I mean, Siena almost pulled off the shocker of
wow.
the
I wanted them so bad.
It was. I didn't realize because I didn't catch the first half, but Siena played the whole game, and they never played a kid off the bench. The starters
Really?
went the whole. Yes, the starters played the whole game. I never seen
I
that
did
before.
not know that.
Yes,
And they wore
yes,
down.
they
Wow.
did. They couldn't make a shot the last 5 minutes. They were up by like 4 or 5 points, but then, and now I'm watching, like I told you offline, North Carolina and VCU. UNC blows a 19-point lead. It's 2-2 in overtime with 40 seconds left. They're dead. Both teams, they can't make a shot right now. It's hilarious.
I needed North Carolina a few years ago, I think, when they played Kansas in the finals. I didn't have North Carolina. I had North Carolina to lose in the first round, but the way it went, I needed them to win the finals to have two teams, first and second, in a big tournament bracket of a group of about 60 people, and I would have been first and second. I had two teams, and North Carolina in that game blew a giant lead, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're definitely making Miami. They're definitely making Miami wait, like Gio alluded to, 10-10 tomorrow night. So I'll be on coffee number 5 by like 8 p.m. tomorrow.
The good thing, it's Saturday the day after.
Exactly. Yeah, there's plenty of reason to stay up and watch. So it should be fun.
What?
Absolutely. So it's in that Duke game, a couple of things happened. It's the first time ever, I think, a team has led. A 16 has led a 1 seed by double digits at halftime, and it's only the 6th time ever that a 16 team has only lost by 6 or it's lost by 6 or less, and the other 6 teams that have done it, or the other 5 teams, nobody has advanced past the Final Four, and 5 of the teams have lost the next round. So I want Duke to lose for a couple of reasons. I want them to lose because obviously the Boozer Boys could have and should have came here, and then we'd be number 1. I mean, and secondly is, how did Coach Lucas not get Coach of the Year?
You know, I mentioned that today, and there was a Cane fan who went at me and said, "Oh, just stop with your bias, whatever." I was serious when I said it's not about bias or liking Miami. I'm just looking at it objectively. Yes, Duke has had a great season. However, I kind of cracked that joke because I still do believe that Coach Lucas should have won ACC Coach of the Year, because considering the circumstances that he had to construct an entire roster from the ground up. He had no returning players.
0 players. That's never been done, I think, to have 0 players and go and be the highest seed they are.
0 returning players.
0 returning, and they lost out. And Duke got the 2 kids that were second. Miami was second, who are local kids to Miami. Duke had the number 1 recruiting class. We had a coach that is the biggest ripoff in sports history, I think.
Yeah, well, my other thing with it too is the fact that in his first year as head coach at Miami, mind you, he's never been a head coach before at the collegiate level. Never been a head coach. First year ever as a head coach, first ever at Miami. He ties the program record for regular season wins in his first year. To me, it's not bias. Look at the circumstance, what he had to work with, and he got that accomplished, and they're a tournament team. They're ahead of schedule. Brett, they may be like a year and a half ahead of schedule than what people thought when he came in.
Exactly, with 0 returning players. It's like a game of 5-card draw. You play poker, 5-card draw. You get to keep the ace and then throw out 4 cards and get 4 new ones. At least you're keeping the ace. They didn't keep anybody. Nobody. Bless you, Bubba. Nobody. And to do what he did, what's your thoughts on that, Mondo?
Yeah, he had no players in April. I mean, are you kidding? I mean, I don't think there's a discussion. Like, yeah, Duke is always going to be Duke. How? Of course, we're Canes fans, but how he wasn't Coach of the Year is beyond me. It's mind-boggling, honestly.
It is totally.
Well, and also you consider the fact that the team was 7-24.
Yep.
Last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's a total turnaround. Like, I'm sorry, I forget who said it to me. I think it was Cajun Devil, who I've known for some years now, who's always been on X. It's a Cane fan. But my guy, it's not about bias why I said it. I truly believe that Coach Lucas should have won ACC Coach of the Year. I absolutely believe that. It's not that I like Miami or anything. I'm just the facts surrounding it. Like Duke has had other great seasons, but look, that's just me.
Duke had the top recruiting class, I believe. They had the best players come in that joined other players that were great, 5-star, 4-star. And then we got to, I mean, it is to me one of the big, I'm not just saying that as a homer, okay? But it was ridiculous. And I'm sure everybody else feels
North
that.
Carolina just went down.
Yeah, what a gag job. 19-point lead with like 10 minutes left. Unbelievable.
North Carolina just went down.
I had VCU in both of my pools, I'm sorry, Mondo. I just thought North Carolina was missing their best player, right?
They have a history for pulling off some stunners.
They do. Who was their coach a few years ago that was dynamite for them?
Was it Blake? Am I wrong? VCU?
It was forgot who it was, but somebody
they pulled off some good tournament wins in the past.
In our intelligent audience, somebody will figure it out. But VCU, I didn't even see the game earlier, so they trailed by 19 points. Amazing.
I love this.
What else do we got going on besides basketball?
I love this comment from a regular viewer of ours, and Howard Stern. Duke is so overrated. Their coach is also overrated. He's the Aaron Judge of coaching. He never gets it done in the big game. Shits in his pants in crunch time as well.
It was only his first year last year, wasn't it? Or no?
No. But
Shire.
Yeah, John Shire, yeah. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he just hasn't got the results for them yet in like the tournament. But maybe that happens this year. We'll see. Who knows? Yeah. They have a really good team.
Mike Krzyzewski didn't win every year.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
that's Coach like how many national championships did he win? Duke lost in the national championship last year, right? So how many national championships? What Krzyzewski coached 40 years? He won 5 national championships.
Yeah, it's tough to win it all.
Yeah,
it actually tough to win it all. I'll be honest with you. I think it's tougher to win. It's just my opinion. I think it's tougher to win and go all the way in March Madness than the college football playoff is, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it used to be, but now you got to win 4 games, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
You got to win 6.
I just think it's tougher.
In basketball, you got to win 6. In
basketball, you got to win 6, but football, you now have to win 4, right?
Yeah. I just think it's tougher
to get in. It seemed like so. No, I agree.
Four if you don't have 4 if you got to play in the first round. 3 if you get that bye, right? I believe in football.
Yeah, if you get the bye, it's 3.
And you get the bye at 3, but the bye teams are what are they 2-6 right now?
Yeah, bye
twice this year.
Getting buys in the CFP.
So the buys are 2-6. So, so it's interesting. It's not easy in any sport. I mean, obviously, but we saw the Canes in their run to the Elite 8 and then the Final 4. To do that in back-to-back season was unbelievable.
So next up on the docket, I think we've talked plenty about March Madness. One last thing I'll mention, though, just watching Missouri, I think it's a game that Miami can win. However, I think if Hurricane fans have the idea that maybe Miami might blow them out, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. I think it's going to be a tight game. I've seen some of the different lines. I'm going to take Miami with a 2.5. I think they'll cover. But I'm not expecting like a double-digit victory tomorrow. I think Missouri, they crash the glass very hard. I think Miami has to be very careful in terms of like foul control and whatnot. Speaking about Uday specifically, that they need him in this game. Mm-hmm. I think Missouri has solid guard play. However, I think Miami has the best player heading into this game, which is Malik Reneau. Like in terms of just your offensive creation, I would say it's Reneau. So we'll see tomorrow. I have Miami winning, and we'll see what happens from there and the matchup and everything going forward as long as they win. But the other thing that's up on the docket now, so obviously we talked plenty about spring football on the last show. We'll talk a little again about it now because of some questions, but mostly pro day Monday. like we alluded to on the last show, it's probably going to be the best showcase for Miami and its NFL talent probably within the last 20 years. The only last team I can recall that had that amount of potential NFL players or NFL players ultimately wasn't even the 2017 team, Brett. It was the 2014 team under Al Golden. They had a lot of guys they sent to the NFL, but just success didn't show up at the collegiate level for coaching reasons and schematic. However, it was a really talented team, sent a ton of guys to the NFL. The thing I'll bring up, some discussion going on about it that, yeah, it's true that Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, they may not do every single drill of the whole gauntlet for pro day. They'll do certain things, but I'll be honest with everyone here. I don't think they have any need to. They're almost, well, Ruben Bain is a lock for the first round. Akeem Mesidor, it's a sliding scale. You see anywhere between late first, early second. It's very likely to get drafted late first. And Francis Mauigoa, I don't think he has much more to earn by doing a ton of like drills or certain things during pro day. However, I do think it's a great event for those three guys specifically to rub elbows and talk with teams that will be out there for pro day. Miami, I'll say this from like a media side perspective. At least what they're telling us is that they're expecting a very large contingent for attendance from NFL teams for this specific pro day. Rightfully so. Miami went to the national championship. I think it's going to be great for the program. I think it's going to be great for the other players that, yeah, you know, maybe they're not first rounders or whatnot, but I think guys like Keontae Scott or a Jacoby Thomas or even CJ Daniels, Carson Beck, those four guys in particular, I think they stand to gain a lot from all these NFL like higher ups coming out to watch pro day specifically, and mostly Carson Beck. I think you even go back to the NFL draft combine. He looked really good out there, especially during the drills and everything. Even draft analysts had spoken about it. They're like, wow, you know, like he looks really polished. Like his deep ball was great. Everything was really good. I think another showing like that would alleviate some of the concerns that maybe NFL teams have that they say, oh, you know, is the arm shot? Is it not? Or whatever. I tend to lean on the side, and I've spoken with other former players about this. Some former players believe that Carson's arm was maybe giving out a little bit towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I think, how many Canes do you think are going to be drafted?
All right, well, let's go down the list. Ruben Bain for sure will get drafted, so that's one. Francis Mauigoa will get drafted. Akeem Mesidor, Keontae Scott, Jacoby Thomas will get drafted. Who else can we throw out there? CJ Daniels. I believe he'll get drafted in the later rounds. I'm not sure if Keelan Marion will get drafted. It's very fringe. Maybe a team takes a flyer on him really late, but he's likely leaning more towards the side of that. He'll be like a signee instead. However, someone like Inez Cooper, I think he could get drafted in the later rounds. So that's about 7 there. Wesley Bissainthe has received some interest as well. Maybe he sneaks in the later rounds. So I'm going to set the bar. I think I'm going to set it at 7. I think Miami at least has 7 draft picks, and I think they get 3 first rounders. Even though you asked me, like, from what Keontae Scott put on tape, I think he should be a first rounder, but I don't make those decisions. That's just my opinion. He's a phenomenal player.
So Keontae, you think will go first round. So that would be 4. Are you counting?
Yeah, no, I think he should go first round, but I don't think he will. I think he'll probably be like an early second round pick.
So Jacoby, probably 3rd round?
3rd or 4th. I think some of the other guys like CJ Daniels, Inez Cooper, teams will draft them like in the later rounds, like anywhere of that range of like 5 to 7, in my opinion.
Well, that would be pretty solid. 7 guys, 3 in the first round, 7 guys, 4 in the first round would speak volumes for, I think.
Yeah,
I would believe that would help recruiting.
Oh, absolutely. Especially the being able to sell that, hey, we just had 3 first rounders and we had another guy go in the second round. Like we had 4 guys basically go within the first 2 rounds. That's a phenomenal sell, especially when you also can back that up with, yeah, we were also just in the national championship and we were like basically on the drive to potentially win it.
Yeah. And we had the number 1 pick in the whole NFL the year before.
Yeah, well, that too. I
mean, that just builds on itself, you know, if it was a while. So, no, so it's exciting that I think we're going to have some kind of contest, CanesWear contest that, pick them in order, the guy who picks them in order. Do you think it'll be pretty clear cut, the order, or do you think there's going to be some?
I think it could vary with the guys for the later rounds. Yeah, I think it could vary for the guys for the later rounds, honestly. I know David Blay has gotten some interest from some NFL teams, but I don't think he's going to get drafted. I think he'll be an undrafted, like, free agent type. James Brockermeyer has a lot of interest, but it's really difficult for centers to get drafted. Like, you have to be truly special to get drafted as a center. Like, look at Matt Lee. Matt Lee was a phenomenal player. Like, you ask me, I think he's the best center that's been in this program since Mario Cristobal arrived, just my opinion from a pure talent perspective. And he went in, I think it was like late 6th round. But James Brockermeyer is still a pretty good player in his own right. Just, it's very tough to get drafted as a center.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with I know the Jets made some trades. So does it seem like they're going to get Ohio State guys, or what do you see happening with Bain? Because I know the Chiefs, there's talks about the Chiefs at 9 that they love Bain, but we'll see, I guess, what's going to happen with Bain.
Here's my thing about that. Is Bain going to actually make it all the way to 9?
I wouldn't think so, but all this talk about the short arms.
I know, T-Rex. I think, listen, I think T-Rex is something to go by if he has a great career.
There was some of those concerns when it came. I'm not saying that Ruben Bain is Aaron Donald. Just don't hold this over me when I say it. But like the frames are kind of similar too. Maybe Donald was a bit stronger than Bain, but there was concerns about Aaron Donald's arms too and everything. Like I think Ruben Bain, realistically, at the next level, he's going to be a utility guy that can play inside and outside, like basically what you kind of saw at Miami, but I think a little more. I think he'll play a little more inside in the league, but he'll still play out on the edge as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you see the flops in a lot of these. You see some mocks have Bain gone before Francis. Some have Francis going. I've seen Francis as high as 3rd pick in the draft, and then Omar Kelly has him going to the Dolphins at 11.
Yeah,
so
I've seen that.
He's that wide.
I don't think Francis makes it all the way to 11.
I don't think so either.
Pipe dream.
So
I'll put it to you this way. Francis is the best offensive tackle in the draft. There's no debate about that. He is the best offensive tackle in the draft. Bain, you could make the debate. It depends on the flavor, like what you like when you watch the two players. Like David Bailey is a really impressive prospect, and he has the production to back it up too. Depends what you like between David Bailey and Ruben Bain, honestly. And really all depends. Like, do you like more of like that finesse rusher or one with more power or whatever? It all is based on scheme too, and what teams are specifically looking for. So
yeah,
I think it's 1A, 1B between those two guys in terms of the pass rushers in the draft.
Well, it's interesting when you go pro how they feel about you, because I've read a lot and heard a lot of talk about Maui Noah that they want him to play guard. But a lot of teams want him to move to guard.
He's open to that. I think what'll likely happen is teams they'll experiment at first. You know, they'll try him at tackle, see if it works or whatnot. If not, then you'll just shift inside. That happens with many like offensive tackles that get drafted high. If it doesn't work out, they go right to guard.
Yeah.
All right. Remember to smash the like button and follow us as well on CanesWear, the YouTube channel, CanesWear TV. There's going to be lots and lots of great shows on the channel. We're going to announce some big news about some other shows, right, Gio, soon?
Oh, yes. There's definitely more things coming.
More things coming. We want to be the place that people come for the great podcasts and others. Anyone has any ideas, feel free to pass them along. We're definitely going to try to build this channel to be as big as anyone. Remember, we are sponsored by CanesWear, the spot Miami fans and South Florida sports fans shop. We've got the new basketball shirts, we got baseball jerseys, and we got a ton of football stuff coming in and a ton of football stuff here. So remember, CanesWear.com, the mobile app now. Please download that. We're going to be having. We've got the CanesWear Publishing, the CanesWear News, which Gio is going to be running. It's going to be on the mobile app. It's going to be on the website. So lots of fun things going to be happening. Contests, quizzes, everything. So make sure you follow CanesWear TV as well as download the mobile app so you can go ahead and get information on all that. We're going to have flash sales, a bunch of really cool stuff. So thank you for everybody for being part of the network and the CanesWear family, as well as following Gio and Mondo as well. What else do we got, Gio?
So before we jump to some questions, I think some intriguing things to bring up. Where do you guys think Carson Beck will go in the draft?
I think he'll go 4th round.
4th round?
4th, maybe 5th.
I don't know. I think there could be I think he could sneak into the late 3rd.
All right. Well, that'll be good. What do you think, Mondo?
Great question, Gio. I'm going to say mid to late round 4. And a lot of what I've heard and read is they love, like you mentioned a few moments ago, Gio, that he's slinging the ball. Mm-hmm. They at the combine, the word was that he was balling.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'd love to see it. I would let's get the NFL filled with Miami Hurricane quarterbacks. It's been a long time since we could say that.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't it be amazing if Carson Beck was still hurt all last year?
I mean, the good thing about him is obviously whatever pro team gets him, you're talking about a veteran guy who started, 30, 40, 50 games. You're going to get a guy that's not going to be – yeah, he's going to be a rookie. I get it. But he's played in he's been in national championship games, SEC championship games. This is a veteran guy, so I think he could really help out.
He could be a 15-year career guy, even if he's holding a clipboard. I mean, is Chad Henne still in the league? Guys are out there.
He was around for a while.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, I hope. Listen, he's got the arm. He's definitely. I hope to see him. Him make it and have an opportunity. It'd be exciting to have, like I say, more Canes in the NFL when they're doing the lineups, especially if he gets a chance at a starter.
Yeah.
Well, speaking about like pro day in general, just kind of, let's say a little fast forward to next year. Who are the guys you're kind of just like eyeing with the current roster that could maybe explode as NFL prospects?
Oh, my guy is Jacoby. I think Jacoby is going to be an all-pro. I think he is going to be a beast in the NFL. I think he is.
Well, you're talking about the current guys leaving right now?
Yeah, you're talking about next year?
Yeah, I was talking about next year, but
okay,
that statement though. I think Jacoby Thomas he's still.
I think he's going.
I think he's still sort of developing, to be honest.
Oh, he was my favorite player. My favorite player this past season. Just the passion and energy. Every single play was amazing with that guy.
So for next year, obviously our quarterback is going to be a stud. I think. But I think he will be. I mean, he could be. Could he be the top pick in the draft if he has a great year?
Too early to say, because I mean, you go back to what Cam Ward did. Like even before Cam Ward got to Miami, they said, like anywhere between 3rd to 5th or whatever. Even some projections were like 6th round, and then he shot all the way up to pick number 1 with a phenomenal year at Miami. So. Don't want to jump to say number 1 overall, but I do think his skill set and what Miami has, and yeah, it's a little bit of a stronger QB class for next year, they say, per se. You always hear that. They're like, oh, yeah, the next QB class is better. And then there's guys that just end up like duds or they don't live up to the hype. I look back to this past season. There was so much hype for Cade Klubnik. There was a ton of hype for Drew Aller. Mind you, I was always on the train that I did not think Cade Klubnik.
You said it right from the beginning.
Gio said it for a while. Gio said it for a while, yes.
He said it for a while. He also called, he made a lot of great calls. And people would only hear it on the CanesWear TV channel. He did. Malachi, he said from the beginning, was going to be a star.
The one I will say, though, that kind of caught me by surprise, maybe it's just the coaching and everything, but Nussmeier at LSU, I thought he would take the next step, and it just kind of spiraled out of control there. It really tanked his stock too. I thought he was a really good pro prospect. Like the highs were very high. Yeah, the lows are very low, but there's a lot to be excited about there. So I think the quarterback position is so volatile, like from year to year. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, that guy's going to be a first rounder for sure. And then so much changes. Like, for example, Fernando Mendoza, absolutely no one had him as a first-round draft pick, let alone a top 5 pick.
He's the top pick
for the season.
Exactly.
Nobody could have predicted that one. Nobody.
How much is the money affecting these guys? You talk about Klubnik, you talk about Nussmeier. I mean, they're getting paid a fortune. You're still not there. You're on the campus. You're the big man on campus. You're getting all this money. You're barely going to class. And Carson Beck, he had a chip on his shoulder. You got so much to prove. You're driving your Lambo, your Ferrari. You've got everything you want. I mean, how much motivation is there to go out and play well every week?
I noticed that Brett dropped in. You're barely going to class.
I'm not just saying Carson Beck. I mean, I'm just saying anybody. I mean, how much class are these kids going to? They could have 2 degrees already.
Brett, we got to remember, they are still student athletes per se, even though they're getting paid.
And when you're a student athlete, I've always said that about NBA stars. You're given that kind of money that young. You're still not in the real world. You're in college. You're in the NBA, though, you're in the real world when kids get those big or rookie contract. Now you're still in college. You're protected still. You're on campus. You're not living the real world still. I mean, we all would love to go back to college campuses and have a good time. I mean, it was just a great time, a great experience. I don't know how I'd feel if someone's giving me $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 million to be in college. I mean, this is like back to school with Rodney Dangerfield. The triple Lundy, baby.
That's one of the best dives ever.
Exactly.
So
I don't know how much the money's affecting these guys. I have to believe, it's hard to get motivated when you have. I mean, you're still on the meal plan, for crying out loud.
Well, here's my thing. It's like, obviously, Malachi Tony is definitely compensated very well. He was compensated very well coming into Miami as well. I think it's just player dependent, like how disciplined these guys are.
Mm-hmm. You got to be self-motivated, self-disciplined. You need to have a reason and a why. It's just very difficult for these guys making that much money to have that extra drive. Because you're already making the money. I can stay in college 2 more years if I want to. I can milk the system. I mean, it's still college football is huge, but you're still in school. I mean, taking one class, taking the movies or whatever class you're taking, cooking. It doesn't matter if you're taking, engineering. You're still on campus on the meal plan. You don't have to worry about where am I it's not the real world in a lot of ways. And not to say when they're out there now, it's okay. I don't have all my buddies on campus. I got all these other people. I mean, being in college can be the greatest time of your life. Yeah. And now you're getting paid to do it.
Yeah. I will say though, from all the years of guys not getting paid and me that I go to all the games here, and then I was able to travel to Dallas for the Cotton Bowl. There's so much money involved in all of this, like with the TV networks and the team traveling. And so, yeah, I see why they get what they get because, well, especially the quarterbacks, because some of these TV networks are paying billions of dollars to broadcast these games.
I mean, I definitely think they deserve the money. I'm not saying they don't deserve it. I'm saying I don't know how motivated I would be at 21 or 22. You go from your dream as playing in the NFL to make it big. But when you're handed $1 million, $500,000, $1 million, 1.5, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, $5 million, that dream of the NFL is not as, wow, the NFL, I just got $5 million. I may never have to work the rest of my life.
Did I mention I got to be at my desk tomorrow at 7 a.m.? No?
Mondo, well, I thought you were getting $5 million from this show.
We'll talk offline. We'll talk offline. Yeah.
I'll say this though. I think the one, because after this we'll move on to some of the little more about spring football and then take some questions here. I know we have a ton of questions I see.
Yeah, we'll get to
that. But I think the component that never gets talked about, and I say this from the experience of that I worked at Life Wallet for multiple years, which was like one of the originators, like when all this started about like NIL and the players getting paid and for the what was supposed to be like advertising aspects and them doing certain projects and whatnot, like for helping boosting exposure for companies. Even though I'm going to be honest with you guys, these days, I don't see any of that component anymore from the NIL side of thing. I just see the players are getting paid, but there's really no like brand exposure for things. Like you don't see it that often. You don't see players putting up ads or anything like, let's say it's like a Gatorade ad or an ad for a local mom and pop shop for like, let's say that it's like a burger joint or a sports bar or anything. You don't see that anymore. The players are just getting paid, and it's like
name, image, likeness is not really name, image, likeness comes in when they're getting paid for selling jerseys. They're getting paid for selling shirts. They're getting paid for that, which is great. They're getting paid for autographs, which they always should have been allowed
to.
But
the initial idea of it was that they would basically do like ad spots and certain things for companies, and that like it sort of was going on at the beginning. Like there were some schools doing it, and it's just kind of faded away. I'm just being honest.
Totally. When it first started, that's the way it was for our business here, because people they'll do a post. I'll do a post for this. That's the way everything was set up. These companies, that's they were going to do it. Get you in contact with players to do a post for you, to do an autograph session, to do this and that. And it's a little different now. Exactly.
Yeah. It's just kind of swept under the rug now.
Yeah. I took a little money on these kids. Colleges make money on these kids. They deserve to make money.
I took a quick peek at the comments. I see that our friend Juan Manuel said that the Ruben Bain's a better athlete than Aaron Donald, and it may have started a WWE firestorm in the comments.
So the last subject I'll touch on NIL, the other part that's not being discussed, and I think you're going to see the fallout of this coming within the upcoming years. There are players that are making so much money at these schools, specific players, that I worry about this because I've spoken with several former players that have played for Miami and have played for other schools. And I always ask them the question, what was the adjustment like when football stopped? Like whether you made it to the NFL or not, or when the NFL career stopped, or just if it stopped at the collegiate level, anything along those lines. And every single one of them always brings up that kind of like, they kind of feel lost at the beginning. They're like, okay, what do I do now? Because, I've played football since I was like 4, 5, 6 years old. And that was my life. A lot of the things I did revolved around that. And now I'm not playing football anymore. So a lot of them, like there's a great portion that, they make the adjustment. They go on into the big outside world and get involved in businesses, or they open businesses, or they become doctors, or this. Like a perfect example I'll give, Claude Jones, who played with Mario Cristobal in the late 80s, early 90s. He's a doctor now, really successful doctor. I've had the chance to talk with him several times. And I picked his brain about that before, and I picked other players' brains, but him specifically. And he told me, he's like, yeah, like when it ended for me, he said it. He was like, I felt kind of lost. Like I didn't know what my path was, what I wanted to do next. It's kind of like in a limbo for some time. This happens to a lot of players. My worry is that, so for players back then, it like pre-NIL, it was basically you had no choice. You had to get out in the real world. You had to find a job, a profession, career, and everything, whatever you studied, if you finished your degree and everything. The problem I see is, I'm not saying this is a Miami problem. Miami graduates a ton of their players. The percentages are very high comparative to the rest of the nation. But I'm speaking as like a grand scope of things. The problem I see is a lot of players are making large amount of money, and they may not make that same type of money again after football ends, whether it's maybe even at the collegiate level. There's guys that are just not going to make it to the NFL. So what is that shock value there? Like what happens to some of these guys when you don't see that type of money coming in anymore? That's a life adjustment. You made all this money maybe 1, 2, 3 years ago to making none of that anymore. And not every job out there is going to pay that type of money either, or you have to work your way up like it is in the professional world. I worry about that from the mental aspect for players. Like people will say, oh, they're making so much money. Who cares about their mental?
No, you're seeing it now. You're seeing with players, some things, as life gets tougher for us all, we all have ups and downs. And sometimes you think like, okay, I'm never going to get that back. And they maybe made money and now they can't make that money. It's definitely I hope the colleges that's the course these kids got to take, is what to do with your money, what to do with your, there's a lot of guys. I know the NFL teaches you that. When you go to the NFL, there's all those classes and everything about, people that are trying to take advantage of you. But now in college, that's the way. Even a lot of agents. So there should be classes. That should be a degree, is money management. I think every one of these kids should be mandatory to take money management and things like that.
I know some schools are doing that, not all. I just get concerned about that because I think of like the players from before and the adjustment they had to go through. And then now when you throw in the factor of you're making, whether it's high 5 figures, 6 figures, not high 5 figures, high 6 figures, 7 figures, some players.
You just gave me an idea, Gio. Thank you.
What is that adjustment? What is that? I think some guys are going to crash and hit a wall and be like, oh my God, like it's over. Like, how am I ever going to make money like that again? Or how am I going to make it? Like, this is stuff that people are not discussing, but I've brought this up years ago that I had the concerns with that. And I've spoken with people I've spoken with former players about it, and they agree. It's kind of a culture shock. Like,
totally.
Let's say an example. Many of the top players that make 7 figures, and they're very likely to make it to the NFL and whatnot. However, let's say you're a really good player, but you don't make it to the NFL. Most of those players, from the figures that I know, they make in the 6-figure range in college football. Now, let's say you don't make it to the NFL. Let's say you got your degree or whatever. Degree doesn't guarantee anything in this era we're in now that you're going to get into the profession you want to be in. Sometimes you got to wait. Sometimes you got to connections who you know. Let's say those 6-figure payment ends. That's a culture shock for someone that was making that type of money. You were making all that money, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Totally.
I know many of these kids are not investing their money or saving or whatever. I hope that schools start to push this more, financial management and everything for these kids, because I think there's going to be some sad stories in the future.
I agree. Let's move on to some positive things.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
No,
Why don't we get to some questions? And I think we're going to switch up some shows sometimes, guys, that give a lot of questions, that sometimes we may take questions first, and that way people can see them live. We're going to change things up because we are going to be on more of a regular basis. So I think that'll be a fun time to do that, get your questions in, get those answered, and we'll flip things around. So any other positive news, Gio?
That's about it. I mean, just spring football is almost here, so it's going to be content all the way through.
I'm sure people are going to pick your brain, so let's go.
Let's see here. Juan Manuel, good evening, gentlemen. All Hurricanes, can you smell the green tree? All Americans popping up like popcorn. Rio, Brett, where is Mondo and the Guns? The queens of South Beach are asking.
Mondo, you still there? Mondo?
He stepped away for a second.
He stepped away. Well, I don't know if it's any truth, but Mondo's guns are getting so big. The rumors are he couldn't fit on the screen. That's why he's on audio. So thank you. That's a good point. He's going to have to take it down in the gym a little bit. So thank you, Juan Manuel, for pointing that out.
Jacoby Graggs, thank you for always stopping by. Go Canes.
Okay.
Juan Manuel, Gio, Brett, and Michael. Michael? Who's Michael?
Mondo, probably.
I think they were trying to say
Malachi and
how are the jerseys selling with Malachi and the new QE Star Mensa swapping numbers? Mensa wearing 10 now. Are you getting number 18 Cooper Barkate requests? Can you take a moment to show us Hall of Fame merchandise?
I would love to, and I have to have that ready. I was not ready for that today, but I will have that for the next one. We are going to have jerseys. We're going to have so many jerseys. We're going to have the most jerseys you've ever seen at CanesWear this year, and we're still trying to figure out a loading dock to bring them in. It's going to be amazing. Sound like somebody else. It's going to be amazing and spectacular. We're going to have the Malachi. Everybody wants it. We're going to have the Stitch Malachi, number 1. We're going to have the number 10 jerseys for Mensa. We're going to be able to put jerseys on for everybody. We also have a lot of special surprise jerseys coming in, being it's 2026. So lots of great things, Juan Emmanuel, and I am going to have to do that for the next one, be able to show everybody what we have. Thank you for asking that and for always your continued support.
Let's see here. Gio, how is the status of the team? I ask because Notre Dame got hit hard with injuries to key players. Any insights to player weights? D-Money mentioned Briggs at tight end has gained 20 pounds, looking good. Yeah, that was the focus with Briggs coming into the program. For him to gain weight, he was on the lighter side for a tight end. So for what I understand, he's about like 230 range now. I know the ideal weight, considering height and everything, they probably want him anywhere between 245, 250, but he's getting there. And in terms of like status of the team, I think I mentioned this on the last show, but some guys that had some lingering things, it was like, I know Samson had something going on, Jamal Merriweather. There was one other player too, actually. Hold on. I'm trying to think. There's someone on the defensive line. I can't remember now, but there was one other player that was a little nicked up for spring, but mostly everyone's healthy. Dalen Upshaw has been back for a while. I mentioned that to the private board the other day as well, but yeah. Juan Manuel, hey, it's Mids Hudson and Big Bill up here in Chapel Hill. Big Bill wants to know, are the Finns having a fire sale, letting go of players to tank in 2026? He likes Aqua. He thinks the 305 is lit and hot. My thoughts on the Dolphins, why not? Look, honestly, at this point, they moved on from Tua, they moved on from Tyreek, they've moved on from several players, Minka, everyone. Fire sale, yes. You know what? I saw the post of the Dolphins fan that got called from the ticket office in like the last 24 hours, and he was mad.
I saw that.
He was mad they traded Waddle and everything. Look, I'm not telling their fans to do this. Just tune out next year. It's obvious what they're going to do. They're going to tank. They're going to build up on draft picks. They've been grabbing more draft picks for this draft. It's obvious what they're doing. They're all right. It's not even a rebuild. It's an entire renovation is what they're doing.
I personally see they said they were not going to trade Waddle or Achane. But then they said, unless somebody gives us a ridiculous amount. You look at what Donnie Moore, when he got what they get, a second round or a third round pick or a fourth round, they gave for Waddle, a guy that is probably he's not a top 25 receiver, I don't think. They gave him a number 1, a number 3. They switched 4s, right? So they got a first and a third. I think it was a great move. Waddle is good, but is he a number 1? I
think it's debatable if he's actually number 1. He may be more.
Well, I think Waddle would have been good, especially if you're bringing in Malik. Well, Malik is a quarterback who I'm very excited about. But I think, you know what? That package was great. Sometimes you got to say, hey, they say Achane will definitely not be traded. 99.9%. But if someone says we're going to give you 2 number 1s, they're probably going to say you can have them.
No, I think getting a first and a third for Waddle was gold.
That was one
good for Dolphins. It's about time. It's about time that they blew it up. And the Green Bay Packers, have they won it all the last 5-10 years? No. But generally, year in, year out, they're always contending. Mm-hmm. They have really good drafts. Well, the Dolphins got 7 of the first 100 picks in the draft. So, yeah, you know what? You're 7-10 every year. 8-8, blow it up. Good. It's long overdue.
It's better to blow it up than stay in football purgatory, is what I call the Dolphins.
We got $8 billion of dead money in our contracts this year. I mean, it's fine. We're not, but they had to get rid of this stuff. This was some of the worst signings there were. The Tua signing. I mean, the Dolphins were competing against themselves. They were outbidding themselves.
The trick, and I love Achane's game. He's a great pass receiver. Obviously, he can great run. The problem is, obviously, they're not going to have a team, so he's going to be beaten to the ground. So if you can trade him now, and I'm sure Dolphin fans don't want to hear this, if you can get supreme value now if he goes to the season now, I believe he's unrestricted once the season ends, but he plays a season. He has a subpar year. He gets banged up. He gets hurt. I mean, he'll probably still get a big contract, but I just think if somebody offers you like Waddle is not a 1. Okay, Waddle, he's not going to be the 1 on Denver. Cortland Sutton's the number 1 receiver there. So I think Waddle's a 2 is fine. He's not a number 1 receiver. You saw when Tyreek Hill's out of the game or when he was injured, Waddle's numbers were fine, 4 for 80, but he's not scaring you, man. He's not scaring nobody. He's not a number 1. He's not. I think the Dolphins did good there. I think
these guys like size as well. I think size is important
to them. As a receiver,
and even Achane. Somebody had said on another show, I think it was on Bobby's show, I was on that show not too long ago, and they talked about Green Bay's running backs have always been over 6 feet and over 200 pounds. So they've always gone with bigger players. And like I said, they haven't won, but I disagree with they're going to go ahead and give up. I think they're going to try to build the trenches. They're going to try to build that offensive line.
You know what's funny that you mentioned about that? I think you're right on point, Brett, because a study came up in terms of like efficiency of drafting offensive linemen. The Packers with Sullivan and everything, efficiency-wise, not saying that they always get the absolute best guy, but across the board, they've been the best team at drafting offensive linemen.
Wow. Yep. I saw that. The best. Yes, absolutely.
The best, Jerry. The best. No, that's I'm excited about these guys because you know what? The Dolphins have been the same for forever, it seems. So they finally blew it up. They've got a new coach. They've got a new GM. They're running it. Then these guys are running it the way they want to. I mean, I don't think they want to tank because you never know. You tank 1 year and you may not have a job next year. So I do think, you don't want – nowadays, it could be 1 year you're done. So they want to win. They brought Malik Willis in. I think he's going to be an excellent quarterback. I wasn't happy at first, but then I thought, you know what? This kid could be a steal. He's athletic. He runs like a 4.4. He's got a rocket of an arm. And he looks like the real deal. So we'll see. So they're going to have to get some guys that he can throw to.
I think it's a no-brainer for what they signed him for. If he pans out, you got him for literally – less than half the price of what number 1 starters are going for. Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't, then you just cut bait and move on. You're going to draft quarterbacks every draft anyway. So some Dolphin fans aren't happy with it. I think for the money, and they imagine they were in the meeting rooms with him. They were in the practice field with him, the GM and the coach. They know everything about him. They're not going to just hand them $25 million.
That's the big point. If they've seen him and they're risking their careers possibly on him, They know what they like, what they say, and
if he's not good enough, you didn't give him $50 million a year like a Daniel Jones or somebody like that. You just move on. You move on.
Exactly. Good point.
Yeah. And we all know the quarterback. I don't got to tell you, Gio and Brett, the quarterback position will cost you your job. Look what happened to the guy in Minnesota. He got rid of Darnold. They wanted McCarthy. And no, he did. He lost his job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now they got Kyler Murray. So
I know plenty of Viking fans. They are pissed.
Yeah, I'd be very pissed too if I was a Viking fan.
Especially what Darnold did this year. Yeah, that was not good at all. Absolutely, Mondo's right on that. It cost him his job. But here's the thing too. Like before we move on from the Dolphins, because it was the Dolphin-centric question. Speaking about like what Mondo mentioned, like, or I think Brett mentioned it, like obviously Malik Willis will need some targets and everything. It's a good draft for receivers, even if it's just for him for a year or going forward. It's a strong draft for receivers. And even the one next year is arguably a really good receiver class as well. So there's going to be options. So the people freaking out like, oh, Waddle and this and that. Like, yeah, I thought Waddle was phenomenal at Alabama, but I don't think he's ever reached that peak that people thought he could have potentially have been. Like a true number one. Like Mondo said it best. Like even when Tyreek was out, Waddle never really, at least in my opinion, I don't think he ever exceeded like beyond like becoming a true number one. I never saw it. Maybe he does it at the next one. Who knows? Probably not. Courtland Sutton's their guy in Denver. So yeah.
He had a great first year, and he's had great years. I mean, that offense.
No, he's a really good player. I
don't think with size and everything, I don't think he is he's. But then again, he was great. I loved him as the Dolphins, but you couldn't pass up that. You know, he was making $50 million at the contract, so you needed to go ahead and you know what? This team needs to save money. I mean, they've got to do that. So it was a win-win. I think a first and a third was a no-brainer.
Let's see. Juan Manuel. Gio, what are you hearing on the weights of these players? Lightfoot, Fitzgerald, Davis, and Carter, DT transfers. Charles, and finally Stansel at DT. Appreciate you guys. So from what I understand, Lightfoot is over 240 pounds these days. He's put on considerable size since he first arrived. Fitzgerald, I know, is closer to about like the 200 range now. He's put on size from last season. Davis and Carter. Davis, you're talking about the kid that came in from Nebraska. I know he was hovering like 275, 280. I know they want him to play more inside here at Miami. So I'm not sure what size he's at right now. And then Carter is like 290s, just under 300. But they do want to get his weight up continuously. And in terms of Charles and Stansel, Charles was about 225, 230 coming out of high school, about 240 range now. And then Stansel, 285, 290 range. Let's see here. Mr. Hey, thank you for stopping by again.
Mr. Hey. Mr. Hey has no idea why it automatically assigns him Mr. Hey. That's Andy Silverman. He says, it assigns me Mr. Hey. I said, don't you want to be Mr. Hey? He says, no. I mean, he could be. I mean, so he's Mr. Hey now. Congratulations.
So good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you. Howard Stern said, Gio, we start practice next week. We still don't have a cornerbacks coach. What is going on? I think everyone already knows the answer at this point.
Which is?
The option on the table that Terry Jefferson was also seriously being considered to just assume that role. I know it's not the sexy pick for some people. You know, it's not a big name coach or whatever, but he's been with the program for many years.
If Mario's not worried about it, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. Possum Jenkins said, "What's good? What's
Everything.
How are you doing?" Possum Jenkins said, "Let's go, 5-hour show." Howard Stern, Brett, we need the tanking for Jeremiah Smith T-shirt immediately with a dolphin and a cheese head.
That would actually be a very good idea. Actually. I'm going to take a picture of that one and see if we can get that through my team. That's actually very cool. Can you imagine Jeremiah Smith next year? coming home? He couldn't play for the Canes, but he played for the Dolphins. Exactly. That would be the pick of picks, especially if the quarterback is well. We build the offensive line this year. You know, I saw a stat. Randy Moss. Did you see that stat? Never played a game in college that he didn't score a touchdown. Every game he played, he scored a touchdown.
Yeah,
and
people don't realize Randy Moss's career. Yeah, his career, Marshall, was absolutely
What do you got? Like 40 touchdowns in 5 games?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Unbelievable. He was like the Barry Sanders of receivers.
The 30
he was
30
incredible.
Special. The year was between Woodson, Peyton Manning, Randy Moss, and Ron Leaf. Like those three Hall of Famers, like going for the Heisman. Wow. That was crazy.
Yeah, Dolphins passed up on him. We traded out of the pick. Actually, I remember I was at Mullenix Ford working, and I was sitting at on the step outside, and I said we passed up. We traded the pick, and I think to Green Bay or something like that, and then Minnesota drafted him. Amazing. Anyway.
Let's see, Mr. Hey, party is at CanesWear tomorrow night at 10 p.m.
10 p.m., baby. Mr. Hey, you got it.
Possum Jenkins. Bain shouldn't run the 40 unless he truly feels he can get a 4.6 or better. I agree. But I don't think his game is necessarily predicated on running a 40. I think it's totally unnecessary. Howard Stern, is Miami holding Davin Davidson's QB commitment, trying to get bigger fish? Yeah, so there's a little bit of a holding pattern there. You're absolutely right. The top guy is Will Mankel, who will visit this spring. You also have Israel Abrams, who's also going to visit this spring and has his official visit set for this summer. And I've said this a couple of times now. You've said it on the private board for a little while now too. A lot of people around the Florida program, they think Davin Davidson's leaning over there, actually. From what I understand, he's kind of given the opportunity to commit when he was at 305 day, and he didn't pull the pit trigger. So Rich Millennial. Oh, well, last thing I'll mention on the QB thing, it's been talked about for over a year, but if Neiman Lawrence does reclassify, then that throws a whole wrench in everything, because Miami will absolutely take him. Rich Millennial, who do you guys have winning the entire tournament for March Madness? I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I don't really like doing the brackets and whatnot, but I'll let Brett and Mondo take a stab at it.
Well, I will say, Mondo, you say first, then I'll say who I got. Mondo's reading what I just
am going to say no, I'll get to that, but I'm going to say Arizona is going to win it all. I know they've had some heartbreaks in the tournament before. I just think they're playing really, really good ball right now, and I think they're going to take the whole thing.
A lot of people. So I'm in a decent-sized bracket with a lot of people, and I'd say by far the team people have picked the most is Arizona. I have St. John's to win the tournament and Michigan to win the tournament. St. John's, Michigan, Arkansas. So take out Michigan, who's a 1 seed. St. John's and Arkansas, I think, are 2 teams that can win it. And I've got Vanderbilt going very high too. So which is another seed. So Vanderbilt, who just beat Florida really badly in the SEC. Arkansas, who beat Vanderbilt, and it is Coach Calipari. But St. John's is the team I have to win it from the 5 seed. They did beat Connecticut really badly. Rick Pitino. So that's actually a couple of Kentucky coaches there, Rick Pitino and John Calipari. So that's the teams I'm going with. But St. John's is my team in my bracket.
Let's see here. Rich Millennial again. Saw something on X that we are front runners for Bryson Wright, 2028 5-star receiver. How valid is that? And how can we make sure he's a Cane next year? So yes, it's very valid. I've discussed it on this very show a few times in the past. And actually, there is a chance that it may not even be next year, that he may reclassify to 2027. That's on the table. Could very much happen. Programs in the mix there. His family, big-time Florida State fans. However, Florida State is in a lot of disarray, so they're very open to other options. Miami's very much been in the mix there. Ohio State's another program. Alabama. Those are a few of early contenders for him. But is there a chance he could end up at Miami? Yeah, Miami's got a solid chance at it, but I wouldn't name Miami like the outright top team. Like he's still kind of sorting through his options. Howard Stern, Duke is so. Oh, we mentioned that comment earlier. Robert Medina, thank you for stopping by. Jay Lucas, he said Jay Lucas was a big reason the Boozer twins went to Duke. Also, that's very true.
I thought they were going to switch actually, and when Lucas came up, because we were the school he wanted besides Duke to stay home, they wanted, and then we got the guy that brought them here. It's like, why not come here? But so hopefully they lose and they can say, why didn't we go to Miami? I mean, you could be the big fish at Miami and be a legend, or you could be like one of many great Duke superstars.
Yep.
That's my take, guys. I agree. Jay Lucas was.
Rich Millennial, I have a feeling if Duke coach is fired within the next few years, Duke will try to swipe Coach Jay Lucas back. Yeah, you never know what the future brings. However, I know Miami's made a really big commitment towards Jay Lucas, even when he was coming into the program, like just financial aspect, everything that they've done from an infrastructure level for him. I know probably other big time programs will possibly try to take a swipe if they decide to move on from their coaches. However, I do expect Miami to be very competitive in that arena in terms of not just letting him walk for nothing. Canes Jones, Michael Jordan is turning over in his yacht right now. You did right, Brett. Keep your brackets alive. Go against the grain.
Thank you, Canes Jones. I appreciate it.
Boston Jenkins, do you think anyone will run under 4.4 at Miami's pro day? I know Keontae Scott is really fast. I'm just not sure if he'll run a 4.3, but I think he could easily hit 4.4.
Is anybody in the ear of this new regime at the Dolphins that let's pick Canes? I mean, I just think we've done it before. We had Lamar Miller. We had other players that came through us. Obviously, we just had Jalen Phillips. We've had several Hurricanes. But if you could be like Seattle, seems like, Baltimore, some of these teams go for Canes specifically. I'd love to see them just say, hey, you know what? Let's get local kids here. Let's make this the hometown team. And, you know, we've got a lot of studs out there. So let's make it happen. Let's get 2-3 Hurricanes. Let's make it happen.
I know plenty of South Florida fans would love for that to happen, but just the way it's been historically, not too much. Let's see here. Oh, I like this comment. Howard Stern said, if Keontae Scott runs a 4.4, he might go first round. He's plenty fast. So Howard Stern, David Blay, oh my God. Jose Gonzalez said, did you mention Bell? That's actually who I forgot when we were talking about the pro day. I knew I was forgetting. Yeah. Markel Bell. So I said it at 7 earlier. I want to correct that. I think Miami has 8 draft picks this year. 8 draft picks, 3 first rounders. And I think the 3 first rounders are Francis Mouno, Ruben Bain, and Akeem Mesidor. I do think Akeem Mesidor will get in the late first round. But Markel Bell, in terms of where I think he would go, probably around 3rd or 4th. I think he's still one of those guys that is a work in progress, but very, very promising for NFL teams that like they want to take the chance on what that ceiling can be. Because
you never know. Can't teach size.
Yeah, I don't think he's done developing yet. Like I think Miami's done a phenomenal job with him, but I'm sure if you, well, not even I'm sure, it's a knowledgeable thing now at this point. Miami wanted him back, like, and he was going to apply for the waiver and everything, and ended up deciding to go to the draft. He could have potentially come back for another year, possibly gone higher in the draft, but didn't work out that way. But yeah, I don't think he's hit his peak just yet as a player. Howard Stern, if Bain doesn't run good, he might drop. Well, we'll see if Bain does run.
Better to not run or to run to miss your target. It's obviously better to not run, but unless whoever gets Bain is going to get a steal if he goes after the top 10.
Yeah. Howard Stern says, I hate John Summerall. That's the new Florida coach. Gio, he gives me Ron Zook. I'm guessing he means like vibes. I think John Summerall did a really good job at Tulane.
I think he's going to be good.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's really early. I do think he's a better coach than what Billy Napier was. I had questions about Billy Napier even when he first got to Florida. Mm-hmm. However, if you mean by like a recruiting standpoint, Howard Stern, naturally that like the big Power 4 programs, when a new coach comes in, they kind of get that benefit of the doubt at the beginning and sort of like this like artificial recruiting bump that kids kind of give that benefit of the doubt and will buy into the vision of what a coach is saying. Miami had that when Mario first got here. Like kids were buying in like, okay, you know, like we're going to be this in 3 to 4 years. And it did work out that way. But yeah, I don't know if I would say Ron Zook yet or anything like that. We'll see. We got to see how Florida does.
Ron Zook was a spectacular recruiter.
Oh,
at Illinois especially. Was it Illinois I went to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rich Millennial. Yeah, he got who was his name? Rashard Mendenhall over there and everything. Yeah. Rich Millennial. I bet Mesidor Bain and Francis Manoa go top 20. I don't know about top 20 for all of them. I think Mesidor might just be like a late first rounder.
The latter two will go.
Howard Stern. I hate John Oh, wait. Yeah. He also said, tank for Jeremiah Smith, Dolphins. Please, please, please. Howard Stern said, Brett, are you getting some soccer jerseys for the World Cup?
I don't know if I don't believe we have. We're I don't know. When is the World Cup? It's coming up soon, or?
Yeah, summer.
Summer, yeah. I think that is in the process. So we do have some World Cup stuff coming. Stay tuned. I mean, when summer comes around, it's football season, so we need to see what we have room for. But yes, I know we've talked about it.
Juan Manuel, his opinion, he says, to be honest, Ruben Bain is a better athlete than Aaron Donald. Oof, that's debatable. Mm-hmm. I think he will have a fantastic NFL career. He is a versatile D lineman that will start a trend as pass rushing DTs that teams have to prep for.
Yeah, I think
Howard Stern said, wow, Juan, that's a crazy statement. Next year, first rounders will be Mensah, Wilson, and Moten, with Mensah going top 5. What about one outside the box? I think Justin Scott is going to make another big jump this year. I could see him first rounder if like everything comes together. I think he's got first round talent as long as it develops properly. But Moten, yeah, that's a really strong choice there, actually. He had a lot of NFL buzz and decided to come back. And as long as he has a good year, yeah, he could position himself that way. Damon Wilson's highly viewed for the next NFL draft. Plenty of people think that he can be a first rounder. Mensah, we'll see. You know, QB is so volatile in terms of like the draft rankings from year to year. It could change so much within 1 year. However, other players, speaking about that, Brett, anyone else you think on the roster could potentially be a first rounder next? I think OJ Frederick has potential to possibly be a first rounder. I don't know if he will be. And who else could
obviously we've got some sophomores, I think, that are first round potential. But I don't know how many others. But did we think Mesidor was going to be a first rounder this year, going into this year?
No one thought he would be a first
rounder. No way.
Season.
So, Mondo, what do you think? Anybody out there that could be a sneaker into the?
I mean,
go ahead, Mondo.
No, go ahead, G.
So what I was going to say was my two outside the box ones. I'm not saying for sure these guys become first rounders, but I think if like Marquise Lightfoot reaches his ceiling, like the flashes have been really impressive, especially even towards the playoffs specifically. Like he's started peaking a little more. I think guys like Marquise Lightfoot or Justin Scott, if they could reach their ceiling, I think they could be like surprise guys that could shoot up into the draft.
What do you think?
I let Gio go. I let Gio go first, and I was gonna say one player on each side of the ball, and of course he says Lightfoot. So I'll do the sports radio thing and say he just stole my thunder.
I knew he
And
was
then
going to say that.
I'll say this on offense. Everybody, obviously, we got the quarterback. I want to see the receiver we got from Duke. I want to see what he can do.
As a first rounder? Wow.
No, I'm talking about just play in general. I'm not talking about pro
Okay.
prospects. Lightfoot, definitely I want to see him, but Barcade on the offense, you can't double him because you got Malachi and the running game.
No, I'd love. Yeah, I agree on that.
I want to see what he's going to do in our offense.
What's his? How tall is he?
He's about 6'2".
6'2". All right, so he's got good size. I mean, I don't think Fletcher could be a first rounder. It's just going to be, for a running back, you have to be really top of the line, and it's the forgotten position. Is there anyone on the offensive line that could be a first rounder?
I don't think so right now. Specifically, that would be draft eligible.
Okay, so we really don't have. So we have a young offensive line.
Yeah.
So if Sampson comes out and balls out, okay, if he has a monster year, he's got size.
In my opinion, when it comes to Sampson, if he were to become a first, he would have to absolutely dominate as a guard. I love his progression. I mentioned it last year during spring that he was the guy to watch, that he was really starting to peak. I just don't know if he would be a first rounder. I think
one great year. I mean, if you can bet that on Kalshi or one of those predictors, I'll take a shot at it 100 to 1. Mondo, book for that for me, please. Okay.
I see what Mondo meant earlier. There's quite a debate about Aaron Donald and Ruben Bain. He said, Juan Manuel said, just because Donald is a Hall of Famer doesn't take away his physical limitations. Around Donald has never been a prototype D tackle. He is one of the greatest, but Bain physically could do more. I don't know about physically. Aaron Donald was ridiculously strong.
Mm-hmm. I think he's underrated. As good as he was, I think he's underrated, Aaron Donald.
Yeah, Aaron Donald cannot do what Bain did on the outside with the arm length the size of pro tackles. Bain can do what he is doing in college to a lot of NFL guys. No one stopped Bain in college. Howard Stern said, Gio, I missed the last couple of shows. What was your opinion on the hires for running backs coach and tight ends coach? I love the tight ends coach hire. In terms of the running backs coach, I mentioned before even the hire had happened that the internal thought process was like a young guy, energy, someone that would like to recruit as well. And in terms of a coaching standpoint, I do like the fact that he comes from the NFL, and actually his NFL peers have given really glowing reviews on him. And not even just NFL coaches wise as well. There's been guys that work as analysts for different stations or news outlets or whatever. They've given really good glowing reviews on him. So we'll see. I do like the fact that he's a young coach, an energetic guy. Let's see here. Juan Manuel. Gio, the answer to players converting back to society is go see a sports psychologist and counseling. Mental health is like a soldier transitioning from military since 18. Yeah, very true, but it's a very tough transition for them. Hassan, thank you for stopping by. Gio and Brett, the dynamic duo. Missed you guys. I'll even miss Mondo, but he's a Laker fan, so I don't know.
Hey, wait just a minute.
Wait a minute here.
Let's see here. Howard Stern. Gio, does JD Arteaga make it past the season or does he get fired? I mentioned it on the last show. I think some people asked about it. He's not under the hot seat right now. There's still a whole season to play out. I think everyone has to look back to last season too, that they were able to turn around the ship and right it. It's still early into the year. Yeah, it was tough that they lost those two series, but just got to give it time and let it ride. To make any firing right now would be absolutely pointless in the middle of a season. And they won't pull a trigger like that right now.
Mondo being the Chico Escuela, for anyone old enough to remember that, of our baseball talk. Mondo, what do you think on that?
No, to echo what Gio just said, no, they're not going to make a move or do anything right now. That being said, ever since the first UF game, the season has gone the other way around. They started the season against weak opponents, averaging about 15.5 runs a game. Then they lost 2 out of 3 to Boston College. They lost 2 out of 3 to Duke on the road, including 10-run ruled by Duke, which, yeah, their Sunday pitching has been really bad. And even for this Sunday, he's not sure. He's between Gladwell and another starter. So it's just been, they got their pitching has injuries as well. 2 guys haven't even pitched an inning yet. The lineup can hit. The problem is the pitching. The beyond Siskar and Rob Evans, the pitching is a major, major problem. But like we saw what happened last year, they flipped the switch somehow and turned it around. That's why I'm going to take it with a grain of salt and wait to see what happens. But there are big question marks for the pitching staff. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. And rightfully so. Look, Mondo, it's like what most Cane fans do complain about when it comes to the baseball team. They always say it. It's synonymous. Everyone says, yeah, like the pitching is the biggest problem. And it's kind of alarming because every fan says it, that the head coach, that's supposed to be his specialty. So it's like, it's kind of looking at like the perspective of, you look at Mario Cristobal and his specialty is supposed to be with the offensive line and trenches in general. And then if it's not strong, you're questioning the whole philosophy, right?
No, I'm with you. I'm not negating the fact, and yeah, and it's year 3, and yeah, there's some rope and some leeway because of how they finished last season.
Yeah.
But that's huge. Now, if it wouldn't have ended like that, might be a different discussion right now. But they're compared to a UF and a Vanderbilt and other big time programs that have great pitching year in and year out. It does make you wonder though. It's pretty interesting how the pitching has not really taken off. This season especially, it's pretty bad. Yeah.
Let's see here. Hassan's shared. Gio, any more news of Amir Sears reclassifying and also Bryson Wright might reclass? So I spoke about Bryson Wright earlier, and is Miami favorite for both? I wouldn't classify Miami as the favorite right now for Bryson Wright, but for Amir Sears, absolutely. I've had a prediction for him to Miami for well over a year now. It's no secret that he loves Miami, absolutely loves the program. It's his favorite school. For years now. And he's also really close with guys like Bryce Fitzgerald and Malachi Tony. Those guys really gravitate towards each other. They all played for Raw Miami together and everything. A lot of those guys want to play together at the next level. Actually, Bryson Wright played with those guys on Raw Miami as well, but still a long way to go with Bryson Wright and his whole process. However, in terms of the reclassification status, what I've been told, it's not a matter of if, more so when does Amir Sears reclassify down to 2027? It's basically expected at this point. And I do expect him to land with Miami. And honestly, he's a kid that could play right away. And I know there's some other questions coming up about him, just like right about now that I'll answer, but he's a heck of a prospect, super, super advanced, and his best position at the next level, it is as a cornerback, but he could absolutely play offense, but he's phenomenal as a cornerback. Juan Manuel, mental health and counseling should be as readily available to the athlete as trainers and nutritionists. Yep. Not just money. Look at Oregon QB mental health challenge. Look at Mensa reverse money situation. Yeah. Howard Stern, I'm going to say it now. This recruiting class is going to have at least 5 reclassified players. I think that's bold to say. I'll set it more at like, I think maybe 2, at most 3.
When did they start reclassifying? Is that going on forever? Or is it more and more recently that it seems like it's the in thing to do?
A lot of it has tied into with NIL era now. And then the other thing too, well, because there was a little bit of a scare at one point that agents were telling some of these kids like, hey, they're going to cut down like the compensation factor at the collegiate level. It's going to happen soon and this and that. And then there was some scare factor with like the new clearinghouse that was coming in for deals, for new NIL deals and whatnot. But a lot of it also comes down to as well that some kids, they're just way too good for the class year that they're in, that it makes no sense to spend another year at the high school levels, that you might as well get to college and get in that strength and conditioning program and start developing and working with a team and practicing already. kind of just like speed up your track level to the NFL.
I mean, do they have to have they obviously have to have their credits to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. So they have to have accelerated classes. Do they take GED? What do they do to get there?
A lot of them take online classes. I'll tell you this, that not too many people are aware of, unless you're coaching high school sports in South Florida now. Many of these kids, I shouldn't say many, a good portion, they're not even like attending like in public schools or like a full-on school setting. Many of them are taking like online courses, and then they kind of choose like what high school they want to play for. A lot of that's going on right now. Just doing virtual school and then playing sports.
Interesting. So you don't have to go to school anymore. Actually, at the school.
Yeah.
That's good.
Let's see here. Money Counter 305. Thank you for stopping by. Gio, Amir Sears is labeled as an athlete on most sites. If he commits to Miami, do you think that Mario will allow him to play that Travis Hunter role both sides of the Hurricanes? I think they'd be open to it. They were open to it with Honor Falave Johnson in this year's recruiting class as well. It's just most people believe that have been around Amir Sears for years now, and I've seen him play. Most think that his highest ceiling is on defense as a cornerback, but he can absolutely play some receiver too if needed. He could do special teams as well. He's a really special player.
Travis Hunter obviously did it, won the Heisman, was phenomenal, but now he's going to play pretty much receiver in the NFL, I think Jacksonville said. So was he a better cornerback than receiver or a better defensive? I thought he was better. But now
I always felt that Travis Hunter was a better defensive back than he is a receiver. But
he's going to be a receiver in the NFL. They said you can't. It's very difficult to play two positions in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
So did Deion Sanders do it for a little bit?
Yeah, but he was mostly a better DB than he was a receiver.
So it's the NFL is tough enough to get banged around every single play, especially when you're a small guy.
I'm not going to even say this comment, but Howard Stern, thank you for the comedy. So he said, I think the bleep coach and GM of the Dolphins are doing a great job so far, rebuilding and getting back to space now. Yeah.
Well, he likes the moves.
He definitely does. He
also said, I think the Dolphins head coach and general manager doing a great job getting back to space and draft picks. This team wasn't going nowhere. So far, so good. I agree.
He basically just
better for movement rather than being stuck in football purgatory, which is where the Dolphins were.
Exactly. Listen, you clean house and listen. There may be a Super Bowl in the next 50 years after all.
Canes Jones, he said, well, gosh dang, Mondo. First, she leaves you with the kids. Then she turns the lights off. Now she has you locked in the bunk hockey locker.
I can't even come on camera. You see how
I know that. I'm telling you, Mondo, your arms are getting too big, and she doesn't want you to be seen anymore. I mean, the female audience we have is scary.
He said, free Mondo, free Mondo, free Mondo.
That should be the shirt, free Mondo.
There you go.
Mrs. Mondo will love that.
Hassan shared here. Gio, Brett, and Mondo, did you guys see the picture of Tua? It looks like Jabba the Hutt. Was that real or AI? I haven't seen the picture of Tua yet.
I don't know if that was real or not.
I haven't seen that either.
It's a lot of stuff going around. I don't think it's real.
Let's see.
It's a heavyweight.
Howard Stern, I love these comments. Tua is the Bernie Madoff of scamming the NFL and scamming the Miami Dolphins.
Jeez.
People talk about is Tua the biggest bust? Definitely not. He was. I mean, the guy had a decent career. I mean, he just wasn't he couldn't play in the cold weather, and he got hurt. I mean, I did not want Tua. I wanted Herbert all the time, but Herbert doesn't want anything either, for that matter. But Tua, unfortunately, for the Dolphins, he got his money, and now he's got his money, and the Dolphins don't, and it's counting against us still. There's not too many things in life you can have it. The guy got his money. We're still paying him, but we're still paying him, but he's on someone else's roster. Sounds like marriage.
Yeah. Mondo, by the way, I hate to say it because it was against the Heat, but Luka Doncic and LeBron James tonight, wow. They did a number on the Heat.
I
Luka
saw
put up.
Luka at 59. Did he get over that?
He's at 60 now.
He probably wanted to say, "Hey, we're going to show you, Bam. You got 83. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can break the record." But
that and LeBron has a triple double tonight.
wow. So yeah,
I only bring it up because Mondo's a Laker fan.
He is a Laker fan. You know,
Hurts my heart because I'm a Heat fan.
Yeah, you can't.
No, honestly, there was talk that LeBron was going to sit out because this was a back-to-back. They played.
And he was not supposed to play. Actually, he played at the last second. Very weird.
Yeah, they've turned their season around. They were pretty stinky on defense till about 3 weeks ago, and they said, "You know what? Let's play some zone defense." They haven't lost since, so they've really started to play better.
You're saying bet the Lakers?
We'll see what happens in the playoffs, but they are playing better. They are playing better.
Money counter 305. Gio, Justin Scott, do you see him taking that next step? Because if he does, this defensive line will be elite. I do. I'm a big believer in Justin Scott. I mentioned, you can look at my X account, I mentioned throughout the year, and like Justin Scott has really come alive in the back half of the season.
Yes, you have.
He was practically a starter during the playoffs. I thought he was really good. Like Ahmad Moten was phenomenal, but Justin Scott, I think he can get even better.
He was a 5-star also, right?
Yeah, he was a 5-star. I think he was like number 1 or number 2 D tackle in the country coming out.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a big time win for Miami too because they flipped him over Ohio State. But
that was nice.
He's one of the 2 guys I mentioned on the roster between him and Marquise Lightfoot that I think if you're not talking about a guy right now who could potentially be a first rounder next year and could surprise people, I put those 2 in that category.
Mm-hmm.
Howard Stern, I actually like this point from Howard Stern. He said, Matthew McCoy to me is the key player for this season. If he plays good, we're going to go far. If he sucks against good competition, we're effed. I agree. He's likely going to get early cracks at playing offensive tackle with the new shakeup with the offensive line, new guys coming in, guys leaving, guys returning. We'll see. I don't expect Samson Okunlola to end up at offensive tackle. You know, most people around the program, they believe that his right position's guard, but we'll see. Howard Stern, Mario hired a running backs coach and a tight end coach who never coached or recruited at the college level at all to me. Those were not good hires. Big red flags. Am I right or wrong, Gio? Running backs coach, I would wait and see because I know they wanted a young hire there, like an energetic guy. So I think it's the right fit. We'll see. In terms of the tight ends coach, I've heard nothing but really good things about him just from a coaching standpoint. And I actually spoke with someone who had a family member recruited by the program that he was at for like the past decade. And they had nothing but glowing reviews for how he is as a recruiter. And then some people kind of cracked the joke too, saying that, well, you know, I hope they're phenomenal recruiters if they're recruiting for the Army.
Wasn't he the offensive line coach or offensive coordinator? Something that
he was
at Army.
He was offensive line coach there. He won the Joe Moore Award as well. Football Scoop also gave him offensive line coach of the year. The other guy because he was like a co-coach like for that position. It was him and another guy. The other guy is now the head coach at Central Michigan. So both have found a lot of success.
I think he's going to be great. I mean, he's a motivational guy. I mean, the joke is that they brought him in because our tight end couldn't block on a kick. But if that's
I actually agree with that joke. Do you think a guy like that is going to allow someone to be out there on the field and miss a block like that in a moment like that?
Exactly. I don't think so. The guy is true and true Army. I mean, he's served. He's a command. He's led young men, and he's going ahead and coach football. Amazing get for him to leave Army. You figure like someone like that would be a lifer.
Yeah.
But,
that's the other thing too, that it must have been really enticing for him to come to Miami. Let's put it that way, because he's been there for so long. Possum Jenkins, how about Booker Pickett? How much does he weigh? How much playing time do you think he'll get? I think he's more of a situational pass rusher right now, but a really good one, though. I'm not sure about him as a run defender yet. Let's see. Hassan shared. Gio, Brett, and Mondo, you guys rock. So please, guys, smash the like button. Yes. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, please.
Like, share, and subscribe. Absolutely.
It's a new channel, so we need people to subscribe to it.
Appreciate you, Hassan.
It's youtube.com/CanesWear. Miami Connect from X. Does Kellen Wiley get significant snaps this year? Possible chance to start? I think he's definitely going to play more this year. He's one of the guys that I'm kind of looking forward to see like where his progress is this spring. I mentioned on our last show, actually, we talked more in depth about, some expectations for spring. 6'3", over 240 pounds. It's strong, really, really strong kid, built very well. His dad always stops by in this show as well. I hope so, because I think like the athleticism and the size is absolutely there, and the physicality. I just hope like the mental side is there for him already. That would be phenomenal for the defense in general. Like, even if he's just like rotation this year, because I know Heatherman likes to rotate like anywhere between like 4 to 5 linebackers, mostly 4. He keeps a healthy rotation of that. If he's in that and he's playing well, I certainly hope so, because I think he brings a very different skill set. Howard Stern, Patrick Surtain is available with great roots in recruiting. His son is the best cornerback in the NFL. That should have been a no-brainer. Yeah, I like Patrick Surtain. I did. Is what it is. They had moved on from that. Howard Stern, I'm sure you guys know that Randy Moss was on the same Florida State team with Peter Warwick and Snoop Minnis and Lavernius Coles. Yes, Lavernius Coles played for the Jets. I do remember Peter Warwick. Phenomenal player for Florida State.
Never could play in the NFL, though.
Yeah, just
like a lot of Florida State guys.
Yeah, he kind of burned out when he got to the Bengals and everything. But yeah, Randy Moss was on that team. You're absolutely right. And they always bring that up, but he never played a game for them, though.
Yeah, it's like exactly.
But yeah, Snoop Minnis was the South Florida guy, though. He played for Miami Northwestern. Mr. Hey Hey, I have a question for Brett. Can we get some Mr. Hey Hey t-shirts made up that we could sell at CanesWear?
Absolutely. We're going to start running them tonight. Mr. Hey Hey, absolutely. Mr. Hey wants us to get some recruits on here, too. He's got a few people in mind. So I don't know if that'll be something we'll be looking at. But we'll be looking at a lot of things.
Howard Stern, Davin Davidson is a Gator homer. That area he's from is Gator country in Sarasota. Yeah, Sarasota is heavily a Gator area, but he's been very open and receptive with Miami. So we'll see. But I've mentioned this before, that in terms of like a pecking order, you're looking at, I mentioned this a few weeks back on the board, and I've mentioned on the show too, Will Mangle and Israel Abrams right now, and then Davin Davidson afterwards. And then if Neiman Lawrence decides to reclass, that shakes up a lot of things. Howard Stern, I'm sorry to say it, but ACC basketball is weak this year. Yeah, I mean, North Carolina
did lose their best player, who was supposed to be possibly number 1 in the draft, and he's out for the season.
Yeah.
We shall see. Virginia, I think Virginia can make a run. Obviously, this is a Duke game. I know history says they're not going to go too far if you have that kind of a game, but we'll see. And the Hurricanes, I'm not really counting on us running the table or anything like that, but you just never know with this young team. There's a positive answer.
Yeah. Juan Manuel said, can the Dolphins ownership and management team be deported to the South Pole to manage the Penguins? John Summerall has that good con man, salesman personality. Ron Zook was a good recruiter, Brett, but Larry Coker gifted him so many players. That is very true. I've spoken with some people that don't want to throw people under the bus. I'm not going to say names, but I've spoken with some people that were around the program at the time, very closely, and also played for the program. And there was kind of this sentiment that was shared that that people would say that Larry Coker recruited off of the Rivals website back then. And kind of just went down the list and like, okay, who's the next guy? Next, let's try to go out rather than making evaluations. That's very harsh to say and everything, but that's kind of what I was told.
Larry Coker obviously won a championship. The players did it their way. I wonder who we could have brought in that would have kept this program going.
That's a tough one. I mean, what was wanted internally, at least when Shalala came in, was they wanted to bring in Barry Alvarez, but it would have been a kind of a clash of philosophy there.
Yes, exactly. Shalala really wanted him from Wisconsin, who got upset today by High Point basketball.
Let's see, Juan Manuel, did Gio say left?
I know, okay. Boo, get a pin.
Gio, can you tell Sonny Styles Mark Fletcher is his daddy? Yeah, Sonny Styles is going to be a top 5 pick most likely, but you're absolutely right. Mark Fletcher was really impressive in that Ohio State game.
Absolutely, in the whole playoffs.
One man said, Howard Stern, Gio and Brett, Jacoby Thomas has to pay Carnell Tate child support for being his daddy and taking his belt out in the bowl game. Yeah, a lot of questions were brought up about Carnell Tate's performance against Miami. Some people think that maybe he was even scared.
I that's the thing. He's going to be a first rounder, definitely, pretty much.
Yeah,
and he didn't show out at all that game. So, and the NFL is a little bit more physical than Miami.
Juan Manuel said, "Will Nick Lanier reclassify? Why would he stay if he has to go to another school in Mensa this year?" So the thing with Nick Lanier, that was on the table potentially even for the previous class, that like it was in discussion for a while that possibly for him to be a 2026 guy. The last thing I heard about that, which was a few months ago, was that it was more likely he would stay in 2027, that people around him advised him that to stay within his class, that they don't think it would be the best idea to reclassify down to 2026. Hassan shared here, Gio, David Lake was saying that J.J. Dunnigan might beat out Omar Thornton and start at nickel. Do you agree with that? Well, I've mentioned before that guys like Omar Thornton, even Conrad Hussey, Bryce Fitzgerald, those guys can play some nickel. Even O.J. Frederick can play some nickel. Some people don't realize that, but if you turn on the tape, he did play some nickel last year as well. However, J.J. Dunnigan's the guy I've mentioned since he arrived during the playoff practices. Of all the freshmen, that he was really impressive. He's continued to impress. Comes from a very heavy football background. His dad's a super football guy, very passionate guy too. I think it's still too early to say. I want to see him during spring practice. I'll give my impression like a week or two in, kind of like where he's at. I do remember this time last year, Chris Ewald like impressed a lot of people when he got here, especially during the spring. He was playing a lot of key snaps, and then he ended up getting a red shirt last year. But I think he's someone who could factor as well at that nickel spot or even safety too for some playing time this year. But still think too early to say. But I do think well, he reminds me of Jacoby Thomas, but I do think J.J. Dunnigan can play this year. I think he has the physicality for it. Black Thor, what about the Vilma kids? Are you talking about Zion Vilma, who, from what I understand, is related to John Vilma, from what some people have shared with me? Miami's got some other safety targets that they're mostly on right now. So, and they haven't really had him visit recently, so we'll see. But spring is coming around now. They're going to host several kids. The board does kind of change during spring, too, when they get a closer look at these guys. Howard Stern, I think Miami will regret not bringing in a left tackle. McCoy was a weak link on the offensive line last year. We'll see. Hassan, Gio, how does Miami still have a great chance for the 5-star linebacker? I believe his name is Henderson. Yes, they absolutely do. I mentioned before.
In a while, we need that.
Yeah, I agree. I mentioned before that those early crystal balls that rolled in for him for Texas A&M said that I felt it was very premature from national analysts.
It says he tells me almost every day that Zion Vilma is ready to be interviewed as soon as possible. If you want to interview him, Gio, he's ready.
Yeah.
Mr. Mahehe can set it up, okay?
Absolutely. Howard Stern.
He's close with the Vilma family.
Gio, do you see Miami getting Henderson, linebacker from Tampa? We need a linebacker. When's the last time we got a top recruit, 5-star linebacker? I don't want to say definitely yet because still big programs involved, but I don't think it was an outright. And I said it since those crystal balls rolled out that I didn't think it was an outright thing that he was going to go to Texas A&M, and a lot of people are starting to walk that back now. No offense to that or anything, but I do think they have a good chance to land him. I just don't think it's like a definite right now.
Why not? We need linebackers. We used to be linebacker U.
Well, these kids also
When's the last time we got a 5-star linebacker?
These kids also like to go through the process sometimes. I don't expect him to make a spring decision. He's set, from what I understand, he's going to make a decision in the summer, so we'll see. Okay. But I do think Miami has a really good chance at landing him. I think what they did this past season kind of puts them in position for that. Possum Jenkins shared, Larry Coker was the worst thing to happen to this program. We should have gave the head coach position Greg Schiano. Yeah, I think
Schiano would we have won. He would have came in and wanted to do it his way, and would our players have anything could have gone wrong in 2001. I mean, I know it was an amazing team, but Schiano may not have allowed them to be who they were.
Yeah. Howard Stern, is it time for Pat Riley to hang it up? I don't know, man. If I give my honest take on that, some people may get upset at me. I
don't think it's Pat. I mean, it's listen. How many teams get the big dogs? He tried, and how good would they have been if they would have got Kevin Durant a couple of years ago, or if they would have traded for? I mean, a lot of these guys, they don't turn into anything. So
I think my sentiments land on the side, Brett, that with Pat Riley, that I have tremendous amount of respect for him and everything he's done for the Heat organization. However, I think there's just been too much hesitation on pulling the trigger for trying to make those blockbuster moves to make a potential run. The Jimmy years, they were very fun. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like the window was kind of missed there. I do think
when Jimmy was here, they possibly could have gone because Jimmy was the key to get Jimmy somebody. But look if they would have gone for the center of Philadelphia, he's hurt all the time. That was one guy they talked about. Kevin Durant, outside of when he was with Golden State, he didn't win anything. They wanted Beals, all the fans. Oh, he's been hurt. He's been terrible. I mean, been an average player.
Well, I am glad they never went after Beal. I think that was a terrible fit.
And even now, do they want to? They could have Giannis probably, but what were they going to give? I mean, I like the way this kid Pelly is playing. Pelly Larson looks like he's going to be a star. The rookie could be the best rookie we've had in a long time. So some of these guys. Look what happened when Indiana traded for. They gave up everything for who was it? Paul Pierce or no? It was not Paul Pierce. It was. It wasn't Indiana. It was San Antonio. The trade, not with Indiana, it was someone else. San Antonio gave up. No, it was San Antonio. No, just listen to too much beer. Who's the team? Oklahoma City. Okay, they got in the trade. They got the best player in basketball for a washed up. Who was it again?
Paul George.
Paul George, exactly. So that way he was just a part of that trade with all the draft picks and everything like that. So you give up one of those kids and look at OKC now. Yeah. That's a trade that went really bad. You gave up everything for a star who was.
Well, and I also think the landscape of the NBA has changed where I think players are more comfortable playing in smaller markets because OKC was never considered a big market team.
Correct.
They would lose a lot of their guys. They were kind of like reminiscent of what would happen to Orlando Magic back in the day or the Toronto Raptors. They would have these really big stars, but they would always leave.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were up 3-1 on Golden State the year Golden State lost in the finals. That they were up 3-1 to Cleveland the year they broke the record. and Durant decided to leave the team that was up 3-1 that didn't, with Westbrook. I don't think they had Harden at that time. He decided to leave that team and go. I mean, their team could have probably won a championship. Durant was the best player in basketball at that time.
Yeah. Larry Coker couldn't close the door at Tootsie's Champagne Room. Brett, anybody could have kept this program going. Coker couldn't recruit. He couldn't motivate nobody. He was a hillbilly from Oklahoma. And then he shared, Carnell Tate is so overrated. He's nothing without Jeremiah Smith. Whoever drafts him is an effing idiot.
I agree on that. I mean,
Howard Stern might have a point there because
I think he does have a point now. It's
people have mentioned it that it seemed like he was scared to play Miami, and you're going to play at the NFL level. Some concern there.
I mean, how well has, not to say a guy is because of a school, but Marvin Harrison Jr. was a beast. I mean, he was one of the great receivers in college. Has he done really anything in the NFL?
Which one?
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, he's been good, but not like
not great. As I thought he was going to be a. No, he still could turn into a superstar.
Yeah,
I thought he would be a superstar.
Yeah. Let's see here. Mr. Hey said Vilma is a wide receiver, not going to play cornerback in college. Okay. I know Miami's still kind of shuffling the receiver board, so we'll see. And let's see. Can Mario just put Venezuela and Colombian women to take the recruits on tour of the school? They will close off. And the last one for the night. Has Cam Pruitt decided to gain 10 to 12 pounds to make himself a legit linebacker at 210, 212 pounds? Well, he was actually around that range last year, and they kind of had him like pseudo between like linebacker and some safety as well. He played both spots. He also played some nickel too. I haven't heard specifically like where he's at weight-wise right now, but like if he's like above the 220s, I know that was kind of like the old target weight to get him to potentially be a full-time at linebacker. So we'll see. With that said, though, thank you everyone for stopping by. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/CanesWear. Just you could look up CanesWear TV in the search bar on YouTube. You'll find it. You could find me on X at GeoMillion. You could find CanesWear on X at Canes_wear. And make sure to shop online at CanesWear.com or visit the store in person at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. Brett, any closing thoughts? Mondo, any closing thoughts?
Mondo still awake?
I think he fell asleep.
I think he fell asleep or somebody turned off his mic. We're not going to mention any names. Just thank you all for being part of our show. Remember the channel. It's going to be a lot of great things going on. A lot of surprises going to be happening. We're glad that we're back on a regular basis coming to you, and we're looking forward. Canes basketball tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. And then we got pro day on Monday. We got spring practice on Monday. Hopefully the Canes are playing Friday and Sunday in basketball. So a great time to be following the program. So exciting time. The NFL draft coming up next month. It may not be football season, but there's football in the air for sure right now, along with basketballs and baseballs right now. So the balls are in the air, and let's play them. All right, thank you very much for joining the show, and we'll get a clip of that, and it's all about you. We look forward to seeing everybody soon. Go Canes!
Go Canes!